All right, we're about to go in 3. Oh, we are live.
Hey, what's up?
DailyXander 394. It's always a pleasure to create some type of, whenever it comes about podcasts in any situation. Right now, we're at a friend's house.
Yes.
I'm baking a quiche right now.
And I ordered food from Tijuana Flats.
And he's ordered food. Let me back up to this, because I wrote it out. Let me say,
Okay.
so it's my honor to have another guest on the DailyXander. And I'm big in intros.
Sure.
So I got an intro for you. So it's my pleasure to have the time with a good friend of mine I've known for a short period of time, however, developed a genuine connection with. It is my pleasure to introduce the King of Broadway, the Phantom of the Opera, Jersey-born, a man with life-enhancing dreams for himself and others, a father to Bella and Dobby, who I'm sure that might come about in this 35-minute or so conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Patrick Genova.
Hello. This is my first, by the way. I've never been on a podcast, but I absolutely love the camera. I love stuff like this. So
yeah, like little impromptu.
Sure.
Well, hey, this is my first podcast ever in the what would we call this?
Screen-in patio.
A screen-in patio.
Here at Los Altos.
In hunching over right now. We're hunching right over.
We're
as we
hunching
talk.
over.
That's
we have it on a
best to
box on the
do.
ground.
Yeah, that's.
But you have to make things work in life. You have to find a solution when there's some adversity.
Dude, that's
you find
so
a
true.
solution.
That's so true.
So that's what this is all about.
Yes, dude. Like I can speak to what you're saying right now. Like in a lot of ways, like for the longest time, I didn't have a tripod at all, and it forced me just like figure out like, all right, man, how can I prop up my phone in a creative way to get the job done because I don't even have the resources necessary. And it just speaks to like you use that example
Sure.
farther in life when you don't have as much, it just forces you to be more creative. And
You probably got like a milk bottle or
Yeah.
something like that and put it up against the milk bottle.
And think
You do
outside the
something.
box, but right now we're using the box. So.
Yeah, and it's outside the box.
It's outside the
It's
box.
not in the box. There we go.
So we can get to what you wanted to. Before we turned the camera on and went live, you were saying like, hey man, we should get into the theme or the topic of thankfulness.
Yeah, I think thankfulness is important, especially during this month for November for Thanksgiving and just kind of appreciating life and the little things in life about, that we kind of take for granted on a daily basis, like air.
That is so true.
Like a lot of different things, and so I think it'd be a good topic to talk about because there's so many things we can talk about on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to kind of guide me through it since it's my first. So then that way we can kind of
No, absolutely.
see
So
how
like
the format usually
again,
goes for these things.
what I always like to tell people is like I first like to create a conversation environment or arena or
Conversation
dynamics that promote genuinity, authenticness, no judging, essentially like honesty,
Sure.
just vulnerability, and just a normal conversation. Like me and you are at a coffee shop right now, and it's an Italian coffee shop, and
Sure.
we're sitting on we have a nice small coffee table between us, drinking actual espresso,
Cappuccino.
a cappuccino with our Triscuit or biscuit or whatever to dip in. Yes, biscotti, and we're just having a
Cannoli.
conversation, man. And it would pretty much start out with like, "Hey, Patrick, man, how's your day been? How has your week been?" kind of thing. And then start mentioning something. We go from there, and then before you know it, we're digging into creative minds. And next thing before you know, we're like 5 minutes into like just one small topic, and then we'll be like, "Yo, wait, what were we talking about all of a sudden? Like, how did we get onto that?" And that was like really cool. That was really cool mind exploring because that's. Yeah. I always like to promote it as like, hey man, we're gonna do some mind exploring. We're gonna see what sharing of our perspectives enhances our own thinking process and our mindset and such.
Well, iron sharpens iron, so of course.
That is a quote I've been hearing a lot lately.
Have you?
Yeah.
Where have you been hearing this?
From you.
Oh, okay.
You are one person that said it. Frank's another person that said it.
Yeah. Well, but that's duplication right there,
That's
right?
duplication. I'm grateful for duplication.
Duplication is where it's at.
Yeah.
So.
One thing, actually, all honesty, what I wanted to kind of talk about is more about you, because I do know stuff about you, but I'd still like to know more about you.
Sure. What would you like to know?
So, you Italian background.
Yeah, so my dad's 100% Italian.
Yeah.
My mom's actually German, Irish, Polish.
That's right. And I've met his mom before, and I'm trying to think of her name. Agnes. Okay.
Mama G is what they're
Agnes, if you're ever watching, my apologies. I remember in Louisville. I remember.
Yeah. So my mom is German, Irish, Polish.
Yeah.
She's what?
She was the president. I'm sorry.
Miss President. Yes.
Miss President Agnes.
For those of you who don't know, my mom, she was the only lady with us at the conference.
Yes.
So
Business
all the guys,
yes.
we were all dressed up and pretending to be her. What is it? The security guys.
We were Air Force One, and we weren't even flying, which is the bizarre thing. Why Air Force One was on the ground?
Because we were flying in life, going places.
I feel, dude, I can relate to that, man, because like, I like to carry myself in the sense, like, I feel like I'm flying all the time.
Yeah, because you're on cloud nine, because so many good things are happening, right?
Yeah.
But my mom and dad, really great relationship with them. Each in a different way.
Yeah.
Growing up, my parents split when I was about 13 years old, but I was able to hone a good relationship with both of them. They each bring something different to the plate. My mom, I don't think I ever see her get mad. She's like one of those Mother Teresa type people that like just very peaceful. She's very spiritual. My dad is extremely intelligent, was very successful in what he did with his business career, politician, really great people skills, which is where I learned a lot of my people skills from. So it's really cool to be able to have that. I think my parents splitting was probably the best thing that happened to me. I know this sounds crazy because most people will say, oh, why? And if you guys watch this at any point, don't take that in the wrong way. It's just that when I was 13, you were kind of forced to grow up a little faster. And so when your parents are in two separate directions, for me it was more of a growing experience because I learned a lot about myself, about responsibility. That's where my creative juices came from about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Because I was going to people's houses, getting cans to, turn them in for cash so I could pay for different things.
Yeah.
I would go get furniture from like Craigslist and those different places, and I would actually
I
would fix them up out of my garage and resell them. So a lot of those different things I came up with because I was kind of put in a position that I needed to grow up a little bit.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about, adversity. Kind of, you can either let it get you, or you could do something about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where everything honed from. I have two sisters. Both live in Jersey. Everybody lives in Jersey. So I don't really see them too often.
In what part of Jersey were you live in?
So, I grew up in a place called Union, which is about 10 miles outside of New York City. 10, 15 miles or so. My mom lives in Basking Ridge, which is Somerset County.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I'm not familiar at all with the Jersey or New York area.
So the way that Jersey's set up is you have, like the east part is like all city, so New York City.
Yeah.
The north part's going to be a lot of mountains. West part's going to be all farmland, and the south is going to be all the shore.
Gotcha.
So you literally have like everything around you. Where I grew up, you just had to drive an hour to get to different places, and that's what you have.
That's what you have. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Each sister has 3 kids. One of my sisters, she has 2 kids in college.
Wow, that's a lot of kids to be an uncle for.
I feel old. So, yeah. So that's my family. We have a pretty big family, expanded throughout. Wish I get to see them a little bit more often, but hopefully if you guys see this, come visit me in Florida. So, how about you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm an only child. Okay, back up to that. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska, which that's known. So I lived in Anchorage, Alaska for 18 years, and after that, I lived in Flagstaff, Arizona for 3.5 years.
That's where Desmond's mom is?
Yeah, Desmond's mom actually lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I don't know actually if I was in Flagstaff when she was in Flagstaff. But it's a cool connection to just kind of know that.
Right.
And then I lived 6 or 7 months in Australia, predominantly Sydney, Australia, and then doing traveling throughout, as far as like Melbourne and then Perth, if you're kind of familiar a little bit with the landscape.
I'm pretty familiar with it, just haven't been.
Yeah. And then also did some time, it sounds funny, in New Zealand. Traveled there. And then,
did you ever go to Hobbitown?
Nah, man. I would love to, though.
I want to go there so bad.
Yeah. I wonder, what do you know about it? Because, so that's where it originally got built up for the movie, Hobbitown.
Yeah, I don't know if it was actually, there prior, or if that was something they made because of the movies, and then they just kind of kept it there as, a theme park type of thing. I'm not too sure if it was, a legit town.
Yeah.
For such small people.
Yeah.
Is that the way to properly say it?
No. Well, let's just say, yeah, let's say that's the proper way to say it. You're asking the wrong person. Neither one of us are, well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say neither one of us are small, but that's like...
So, If you know the answer to that question,
yeah. Let us know, please.
If you've been to Hobbit.
Then after that, I came here to Orlando, predominantly Maitland area. I was from August 2016 to December 2016. I was in Maitland, and then I moved to where I'm at right now, where you're just picking me up Crane's Roost or Altamont Springs. And now I'm moving on to the next thing.
So what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like you, my parents got divorced. What age did your parents get divorced?
Well, I was 13.
You were 13.
I don't know their ages.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I do know them now, but back then.
Okay, so I found that interesting in the sense, like, so my parents got divorced when I was like 7 or so. It'd be interesting from your standpoint. They got divorced when you were 13, so you were more like versus me. You're probably more cognitively aware of like the full situation was going on.
Right.
And I imagine I was in a lot of ways, and I'm curious. How did it affect you right off the bat? What was your mind frame when that happened? Like, were you very mad at the time?
I would say, I mean, any kid going through that, it's a very confusing time.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. Like, I was confused in the sense, like, I didn't have full awareness of really recognizing, like, what was even happening, I feel like.
Well, I knew what was happening. Yeah. I just didn't know what was in it for me. So, like, I didn't know what to expect on either end, because whenever that happens, you just either expect the worst or expect the best.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of stayed neutral in that aspect.
Yeah.
And then I went through a little rough time myself. Like I went through a little rebellious stage, because I think every kid that goes through a lot of that stuff does at some point. I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but there's a lot of feelings attached to it. So if you tend to act on your emotions, you kind of get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's across the board. Even today, if I were to act on my emotions right now, based on different situations and things that get thrown at you, they sometimes make the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you make the wrong decisions.
When you let emotions dictate your decisions.
Right, because they come and go. They come and go like visitors, and they're calling the next. It's like a visitor that comes to your house, eats all your food, and then leaves, and then your house is a mess.
That's the way to put it. Yeah.
So you're done cleaning it up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Why'd I give you the goodie bag?
So you just don't invite them in.
Yeah. Don't invite them in.
Your house stays clean.
Oh. That's one way to go about it.
That's one way to go about it, visually. I'm a very visual person, so like a lot of examples I'll give have to do with like stuff you can visualize. Not everybody gets it, but that's just my way of explaining things.
Oh, that connected with me. It connected with me, so I got what you're saying.
But so that's pretty much like that aspect of it as far as feelings towards it and how I got through it. Like I said, I did go through some stuff because my mom did her thing a little bit. She lived with my grandfather at some point. My dad was always traveling for work. So my grandmother was one who came to watch us, every so often. So I kind of had to fend for myself at different points.
Right.
So I didn't really have time to much think about or being like some type of pity party or some type of, feeling upset about myself. I kind of took those feelings and hid them inside, I guess you could say, in order to just like move forward and progress, because otherwise you fall into some type of like, depression or something like that. And I that wasn't me. I'm a very forgiving person, and I give people grace. So even though that happened, I knew that I had a future ahead of me, and I knew that eventually my life would beat me against the world. So any decisions that anyone makes in my family, I just kind of forgive people for anything, because there's decisions that I made and I'm not perfect. So therefore I would expect the same grace from somebody else. And I'm a firm believer that if you focus on your strengths, or anyone's strengths, then they get stronger. If you focus on the negative aspects or the weak points, then all that does is reveal things that people don't like anyway, and so then therefore it just doesn't do anybody good.
Circumstances don't change.
So I like to just focus on those positive aspects of things and be able to grow individuals and speak positive into them, and the more that you speak, the more that they'll come back to you anyways. So that's kind of why I took more of a positive mental attitude towards that whole situation, and kind of moved on. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
How about you?
For me, it was interesting. Like I'm just somebody at that point, even going forward. Wow, this is really dark. I like it. It's cool. So
it's like semi-black and white.
It's semi-black and white, kind of, with the glistening of the sunshine behind you a little bit.
The sunshine or the lamp?
Sunshine. That's not nighttime at all here. It's not nighttime at all in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. So for me, when I was like 7, I like to just share like one of my vivid memories I have, like my parents, right before they kind of got divorced. The only time I ever seen my dad upset, he had like an Ohio State ring on, because he went to Ohio State University, and it's the only time I've ever seen him like really act out in anger. I don't know, I can't remember if my mom was somewhere in the house and they chatted and they walked away, and then he just walked away in the hallway, and he literally took his right hand, he just punched the wall with his ring finger and left like this hole in the wall. It's the only time I've ever seen him angry, because he's a super positive person.
Like yourself?
Yeah. So that's like one strong vivid memory I have of like the divorce itself. And then after that, I never really had much emotions attached to it. I just kind of went with the flow. I'm like, all right, you guys are gonna be together, okay? So now I live in two different. Now I have two different houses I go to, and I'm so fortunate and grateful. When I talk about being thankful, I'm so thankful. Like literally, I probably had one of the smoothest divorces an only child could have with his parents, in the sense that I'd spend 4 days a week with my dad, and then 3 days a week with my mom, and they would always be an exchange of whenever I would go with my mom or my dad. They would always see each other. They would always be extremely friendly. Like the friends of those days, they'll still get lunch together every couple of weeks, and just like check in with each other, make sure everything's okay and such, and just having that dynamic where it still seemed like
keeps it kind of
they're both present in my life, and there's no negativity and animosity behind that.
Well, that's maturity too. So I think that when it comes to, because my parents were the same way. Like when we had holidays, like my mom would have her boyfriend there, my dad would have his girlfriend, and they'd all be laughing and hanging out. And so I think it has to do with maturity, as far as knowing what's best for everybody, and as long as everybody stays in that positive mindset, realizing it. And sometimes you have to come to the realization that not everybody's for each other, you know, or if you are, you know, you could always technically work through things, and there's always differences that you could always work through, but at different points, you know, everybody does what they need to do for themselves, and you know, I just think that it's one of those situations where you just kind of have to accept it and move forward. And so I think it's cool that we both had similar paths, and our parents, like I said, were mature enough to realize that, and to not, because a lot of kids nowadays, especially with this newer generation, I'm noticing that like there's a lot of absent parents for dads and moms.
Right.
And so, you know, that's why kids go to like social media for acceptance and all these different things, and that's why people. I mean, we walked into Desmond and I walked into Dunkin' Donuts, and the guy who was behind the countertop, like we were trying to talk to him, he was so robotic and like just not even. He didn't realize he was there. I think it was still like either sleepwalking or like there was just no response. He was so robotic, and but you start to see that there's so much deeper in that individual going on that he was probably a product of something like that, where he has either a parent not there or something like that, because you could just tell that he was just kind of going through the motions, and there was no I want to say no purpose behind it, or no drive behind it, but you could just tell that he was going through something, and that's why we need to be those positive lights of individuals, and that's why I'm thankful for like the coaches and mentors in my life who have helped me out and get my mind right to where I can do that for other people.
Yeah, big time. So it really starts ground level, just being a positive person. Like if you want to add value to somebody, just carry yourself in a positive manner, and that can just trigger a whole domino effect to really impact their mindset in a lot of ways. And it's unfortunate that guy behind the counter didn't see that or whatever. Like, oh, these guys are like trying to.
Well, and
it also goes back to like being in an environment like that where he's in Dunkin' Donuts. He might not be he's so robotic that he's gonna turn off everything that he sees in front of him, and he's basically just trying to get.
But I know if you were there, you'd be like, hey, what's going on? Would you like some donuts? Like, how about 2? How about 3? You know, like. So I think it's a matter of, you know, yes, your environment gets to a point where like you don't enjoy it, then maybe you should find something else that you do. But it's also what you make of it.
It's so true. So true.
So I mean, you know, I could be scooping horse manure with my bare hands, but as long as I'm, you know, getting to the point where I want to be in life, and you know, financially getting there or whatnot, then you do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah.
Push through it, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it's all just for me. It's just a frame of mind.
Dude, I totally. I mean, you can look at like some of the most dangerous jobs on this earth, like whether it's commercial fishing. Be like
I've seen those shows where like they're in like the middle of the ocean and like the huge waves and all that. Like put their life on the line for like the crab.
Yeah, just a crab.
Well, I'm just saying, not just one crab. I mean, that's a special crab, you know.
Yeah. It's
Finding Dory.
It's interesting because like if you were to like kind of look at those guys' mindsets from like the dynamics of like the captain all the way down to like the greenhorn. The greenhorn is like the term they call somebody for.
Do you know a lot about that?
Yeah, I actually did commercial fishing for 3 summers.
So you were the guy like in the big waters, like.
So I did a different type of the style of fishing was like at the headwaters of a bay, and the waves would probably get like 8 to 12 feet high. Those the shows you're referring to, like for crab fishing,
like
that's when you're in the middle of the ocean, and that's really intense. Like that's like there's instances where water gets so high that it literally will go on top of those massive boats.
Yeah, I seen the shows where the guys are like falling over and like.
Yeah, like the fishing we did, the risk of potentially like going overboard is definitely still there. Just the water doesn't get as rough as that, but our boat is only like 25 feet long.
So it's smaller.
It's smaller.
That's like the size of an orca whale. I know, because I used to want to be a killer whale trainer.
Oh, I thought you just said killer whale. I was like,
well,
so I know your spirit animal.
No, killer whale, like the orcas.
Yeah.
The one from SeaWorld where they had the whole blackfish thing.
Yeah.
They're like 24 to 36 feet, depending on the male or female.
The male or female. So yeah, male would be bigger, female would be smaller.
Correct.
Yeah. When did you want to do that? Like,
always. Growing up. Until I realized that thing could fall on me at any point and kill me.
What kind of sparked that interest?
The movie Free Willy.
You really?
Oh yeah.
You serious? Free Willy?
But I love marine animals. Like one of my favorite mammals, if you will, are dolphins. I love dolphins. So like just marine mammals in general.
Yeah.
But I did like the orca whales. I love them.
Yeah.
Because they're so massive, and you think about like such a massive wild animal can be trained to the point where like it knows how to do tricks and flips and things on the moment. Like to me that's crazy. Like to think that these, I know it sounds weird, but to think that they would be first off, who was the first person to be like, hey, let me bring this whale in and start training it to touch this ball? Or,
dude, that's a good point. Like, how does that all go about the process of
like, let me start
starting it all? Like, how do you even get about? How do you tame a whale? First off,
right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know, but that movie did it for me because I love
Blackfish.
No.
Oh, you're talking about Free Willy.
Free Willy.
Free Willy. Yeah.
I still feel like Blackfish. To talk about that a little bit, I feel like with the media, you and I can make a movie and snip it up to be what we want it to be. Mm-hmm. So like that movie focused on different aspects. Not saying, I mean, I don't know all the details, so putting my disclaimer out there, but I think there's things that SeaWorld does to preserve animals and to help them. I don't think they're necessarily there to like hurt them, otherwise they wouldn't be in business. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, any animal should be put out to sea, I believe, you know, etc. But at the same time, some of them, I guess, can't. I don't know the situation. Some of them are born in SeaWorld, so they can't just automatically be put out into the...
Yeah, they're born in captivity.
Born in captivity. So it's kind of too late for those.
Yeah.
So you gotta keep them there, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that they do good things. Like I don't think that, like I said, you get what you focus on. So I feel like anyone could put something together, and we could put together a video that's like the best video that shows all the positive things and then the negative things. And so people, it's like what you accept, what you take in.
That part's very true. As far as you look at like scientific research studies, like depending who's funding, that's like literally the first thing anybody should do when they're looking at like a research article or like some type of study that got put out. Always look at who financed this, because you can literally skew numbers however you want to skew them for your own.
Even like Google searches, like you search anything and then there's a website that comes up and you have to think, okay, who's behind it?
Yeah.
Like everything has somebody behind it, and everybody has their own opinion. So you kind of have to weed through a lot of that stuff and say, okay.
And it's interesting because you never really ever get told like about that, or in a sense like how to go about that in a very rational, healthy manner, so you make sure you're not being manipulated.
Well, just because people see something on the internet, they automatically think it's like real, especially on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever scroll through and there's a thing that says The Onion. It's like a fake news report. Yeah. That's actually like a comedic thing, but like people think it's real.
Yeah, I think that's real. I think probably the first time I ever saw it, which was like several years ago, I thought, I was like, oh shoot, is this real? Because they were doing like I don't remember what it was, but yeah, like similar thing, similar aspect in the sense like the spoof of it all. The spoof of it all. Man, dude, I've talked to like several people today I had conversations with, and it just revolved around news.
Really?
And I kind of quickly divert the conversation, but it's always negative stuff. when somebody mentions something news to me, I'm just like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
So people just bring up the news to you, like, oh,
not like randomly, but like after we talk, kind of thing. And then sometimes it's interesting. I feel like oftentimes more it's people in their like later
years, like the
dude, anybody
50s,
past like
60s.
Anybody past their 50s. Oh man, dude, you go to nursing homes. Nursing home is like, littered with news everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, news or game shows.
I'm all about the good news, spreading good news, for sure.
Yeah,
spreading good news, just like the Bible says.
Dude,
spread the good news.
Yeah. Again, goes back to.
Didn't say spread the negative news.
Yeah.
Spread the good news.
That's true. That part's.
The Bible didn't say that.
The Bible didn't say that.
Go spread the negative news. Go spread the 11 o'clock news. So spread the good news.
How long have you been here in Orlando now?
So I've been here for 10 years.
10 years.
I actually picked up and left. I had $1,800 in my pocket.
Yeah.
It was September 1st, 2007. Said to my mom and my dad, I'm moving to Florida. 15 days later, I moved. Didn't have a job lined up. Didn't have anything really lined up other than a place to stay. Found some friends on Craigslist, and that was it. The crazy part about it was more of a leap of faith. Their father actually owned the place, and he's like, "Oh, you don't have to sign a lease. You can just shake my hand. That's that's good enough for me."
Yeah.
And thank God I was who I was, because if I was some crazy person, like, can you imagine, like, just that's a big risk. But at the same time, I feel like God puts people in your path for a reason, and some type of blessing where it just was something that came up.
Yeah.
And put me in the path, because honestly, this podcast wouldn't be happening if I didn't make that decision to come down to Florida.
Yeah.
Take that risk.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's cool to meet people like yourself and other individuals.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting. It'd be interesting. I'm sure you thought about it before, but like just connecting the dots. Like, so if I didn't come here 10 years ago, what would my life be currently then? Do you think you'd still be in New Jersey?
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's that part's like that'd be pretty hard to speculate.
I'm like the oddball of my family, so I'm the type of person. I'm very spontaneous, and I like to just kind of do random things. So that's why I literally just picked up and left.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in that. I'm very similar to that still. So, like, if I wanted to go live in Italy for a year, I'd probably go do it.
You probably do it, yeah. Just get up and go kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, what's stopping you? Like, just there's a whole world out there to experience, etc. Thankfully, I'm in a position to where I could actually do it in the way that I want to now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I didn't have opportunities currently, if my life wasn't in this position where I am currently, I would still make a way to do those things, or try to find an opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. Life is so short, and there's really nothing stopping you other than your own mind. So for me, it's just making those things happen and making the decision to do so.
Oh yeah.
Because we're reading that book by John Maxwell.
Yeah, intentional living.
So intentional living. So that's helped me so much in all areas, because if you're not intentional about the different things, like if you want to travel, then you have to be intentional about how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
So if I want to go to Rome, I don't have money. I need to be intentional that I need to save up money to go, or find a way to do so.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fall in your lap. So you could have a wish all day long, or you could actually make it happen.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing that I think separates most people from living like an amazing life and other people from not, is being intentional about every area of your life.
Yeah, a wishy-washy mindset versus an intentional mindset.
Right. Well, it's important, because otherwise you're just maintaining every single day, because you're typically not even thinking for yourself. You're not being intentional. You're just living.
Yeah, you're living basically whatever external stimulus that comes your way basically impacts how you turn in life. Basically, that.
Right. So then that's why some people find that other people influence them. Like people can make decisions for themselves.
Yeah, the people that can't make decisions.
Right. So other people come in, and they'll, one little factor, like if I were to touch this plant and it knocks over, that's kind of how the individuals are. Is they're just so affected by every external influence that comes their way. Yeah. So if you're intentional for your own life, then all that stuff bounces off of you because you know what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So that's why, for me, I want to get back in the gym. But wanting's not good enough, right? So you gotta be intentional about it. Okay, when am I gonna wake up?
Yeah.
Am I getting a gym membership, which I do have? Am I going to find the right supplements to aid what I want? Am I going to eat properly? So it's not just like a one-layer thing like, hey, I want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intentional about I'll wake up in the morning. There's tons of factors that affect your outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so life is the same way.
Life is the same way, yeah.
All areas.
All areas, yeah. I mean, it relates to everything and anything. How is that gym going, by the way? The workout going?
I haven't started yet.
Yeah.
I'm not with intention.
Hey, it'd be credible about
but I'm learning.
Aspect.
But I'm learning.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm using it as an example because I'm actually planning on doing that. Going back in the gym and being able to kind of get back in shape in that aspect.
Not only just back in shape, it's going to allow you to, it's going to carry over to other aspects of your life too because you're doing that.
And that's why I said, because the biggest thing in order to get the most value of your life, I personally believe, is mind, body, soul, and then pretty much purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So if your mind is right, which I'm pretty good at as far as reading books and listening to audios and getting around the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Body, that's where the physical aspect starts.
Yeah.
And then eating right, etc. And then soul. So for me, going to church and growing my spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And then purpose. For me, having a purpose every day when I wake up, and what I want to accomplish, and what my why is.
Yeah.
All those things compounded together,
mm-hmm.
honestly, for me, is the ultimate life.
Yeah.
But if one's missing, like if you have, what is it, 0. If anything, if one of these areas is missing, so let's say I'm a 10 in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm a 0 in my body. I'm a 10 in my soul. And I'm a 10 in my purpose. If I multiply all those together, what is it? 0.
0.
So you can't be missing in one of those areas.
Yeah.
You have to realize that you have to have some equality throughout. There has to be some type of balance.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like I'm missing in that aspect right now. So I have to get back into
the body aspect.
Yeah. Because once you start that flow, mm-hmm. it all kind of like layers over together, and it's easier to live your life.
That part's very true. The flow aspect, because then you don't have you don't spend your day kind of thinking about because right now, today, how many thoughts do you think you had that related back to your body aspect for yourself, as far as improving it, or things you can do activity-wise, or setting up your day to day to improve your body circumstances?
To me, there's many.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of having to act on it, like we said, being intentional.
So throughout your day, you would say you've had many thoughts relating to that. So.
Yeah, because I'll give you an example. I had to. we have a party tomorrow for my apartment community. Yeah. And I have to wear a bull costume. And I put the bull costume on, and I was like, ooh, it's a little tight. So in my mind, I was like, gotta get back to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So little things like that throughout your day, or if you're eating junk food and then all of a sudden you get a stomach ache or something like that, you all of a sudden think, okay, I'm eating that because it's gonna make me feel sick, and so it makes you think about it. And so constantly throughout your day, I'll ask you, if you're doing something you're not supposed to, don't you always think about it?
Yeah. Depends what I'm doing. Yeah. I feel like I've gotten to a point now where, depending on what I'm doing, and if I'm doing something I probably shouldn't do, I can kind of recognize still,
but that's what I mean. Do you actually think about it though? You recognize it. Recognizing it means you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I try to think about all my decisions kind of aspects.
So. So what I mean by that is that if you're doing something you're not supposed to, then a lot of times, at least for me, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I need to either get better at this. I don't know, that's my way of getting better, is by recognizing those different things that I'm actually doing, like those bad habits, and then creating better habits throughout that process.
Yeah, so having an awareness of what you're doing.
Maybe that's a better word.
And having a relation to is this really bettering me in the aspect I want to make better? And a lot of times, dude, it's hard to recognize that just because there's so many distractions out there Like even right now, if somebody's walking by, that's a distraction in itself. Like
I know, I get so distracted.
Hey, I've been talking like,
what do you say?
I'm gonna take that key shot though, man. We can. What time is it?
It's time to take the key shot.
I really didn't do a good job with the lighting. Oh, this would be way better lighting right here. We are 35 minutes exactly strong. And it's been good.
Well, to finish up,
yeah,
I just want to say what I'm thankful for.
Yeah,
I think that's what we wanted to talk about. Thankful for this guy right here.
Yeah, thankful for you.
What I learned from Alex is that a positiveness. Well, first off, anyone who meets you, there's this positive aura that comes immediately to where you're just drawn to, people are drawn to you. Yeah. But aside from that, it's a challenge. Like, I thought that I would be getting myself better every single day by reading and listening and doing different things. But when you meet people like Alex who've been doing this for quite some time, which I know you said that it's just practice, right? It's you doing these podcasts and, you know, getting yourself out of your comfort zone.
You don't even have to, like, so I don't mean, like, stop you real quick, but, like, just the example, like, I didn't really give any consideration to making this look good. Like for most of the time we were talking, it was pretty bad lighting. We can both, if you look at it, but like I'm really all about the moment and just like what we just created and how it betters us from sharing a conversation and learning more about each other, and then maybe thinking about things you didn't think about, or even just like admitting out loud to another person, whether it was like the self-awareness of like of the daily decisions I'm doing, is it actually benefit me in certain aspects, kind of thing. So go for it, man.
Well, it's therapeutic. I think for both individuals to be able to talk about different things. Like we both spoke about something that was our childhood with things that we went through, and you know, although we're both in a position now where we're better off, we're still good to talk about it and get things off your chest. But no, I just want to say, like, anyone who meets you, you're very positive, you have such a great mindset, you're very intelligent, and you're constantly growing. You volunteer, you take your time and literally put it into places to invest in people and other things. And so that makes me want to get better. It challenges me because I'm like, man, I'm not volunteering. I'm not doing all these different things. I say I want to. I say I want to do all this stuff, but like, I'm not literally being intentional and taking the time to do those different things. So it's cool to be able to have you in my life to teach me those things, because you can learn from everybody. So I just want to say thank you for choosing me to do this too. Like, I really appreciate it. And
I'm very appreciative of everything you shared and sharing that thankfulness and sharing more about some stuff in your life and be willing to do this. I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah,
so that's cool. I'm thankful for you too, man. I'm glad you made the decision to come down to Orlando. 10 years later, I had the opportunity to meet you and carry a lifelong relationship with you, man.
Absolutely.
Really cool, man.
Now I have to go on a cruise so I can see him again.
And do another future podcast with lighting and all the whole shebang. Oh,
yes, from the ocean.
G-Nation signing off. You already know what it is. Peace, love, unity, respect, and as always, passion over and out.
Passion.